we've already talked about that ad nauseum, but it is important for you guys to understand that like you've got to get good at your content today. Okay. And if you don't, you're going to pay. You're going to pay in the fact that people aren't going to want to partner with you. You're going to pay and that you're going to pay more for your advertisement. You're going to pay more for getting in front of more people. And if you can't get in front of people, it doesn't matter how good whatever you have is, your service, your product, your experience, your 30 years of doing OT or PT or speech or whatever. It doesn't matter. Nobody knows you exist anyways.
This is Secrets for Success.
Welcome to the Secrets for Success podcast. I'm your host, Greg Todd. Thank you, as always, for joining me. Guys, I'm going to give you an update on an episode that I did recently. It was with my brother. I was talking about content. He was sharing some of his gold with us. You can go back and listen to that episode. But I want to tell you, I'm doing this podcast over the last 7 days prior to me recording this podcast. I have had over 120,000 views on a few pieces of content, basing it off of my brother's framework. And it has been crazy. You know, I always used to say that I'm the antiviral guy. Like I've been able to create this movement in Smart Success PT and now Smart Success Healthcare, and I've never gone viral. I've never had, well, I can't use that anymore because this week things started going viral, you know, and so, you know what, it's actually pretty cool. It's pretty cool because of the 120,000 views of people that are seeing these few posts, about 90 to 90, I think it's like 92%, 91% or something like that are non-followers. Like I have spent so much money in advertising to get in front of that amount of people. And this has basically done it for me. So look, there's a lot of things, but I do want to share a couple things with you guys that I think you all could do for yourself, and some of the shifts that I've made inside of my content that I truly believe anyone can do. Like you just have to be willing to do it. You don't have to have a following. You can have 20 followers. You can have 0 followers. If you just do this, the platforms today are going to reward you. So let me give you a couple things. Okay. The first thing I would say is go listen to that episode that I did with my brother. It's probably about 2 or 3 episodes before this one. I think we split up in a part 1 and a part 2. Go listen to that. And you can kind of hear it from the horse's mouth, right? Okay, so listen to that episode. That's the first thing. If you want to, hear a lot of this stuff. I think the few things that I want to tell you guys is the following. Number 1, content is everything. Content, and you know what? We've already talked about that ad nauseum, but it is important for you guys to understand that like you've got to get good at your content today. Okay, and if you don't, you're going to pay. You're going to pay in the fact that people aren't going to want to partner with you. You're going to pay, and that you're going to pay more for your advertisement. You're going to pay more for getting in front of more people. And if you can't get in front of people, it doesn't matter how good whatever you have is, your service, your product, your experience, your 30 years of doing OT or PT or speech or whatever. It doesn't matter. Nobody knows you exist anyways. So content is the genesis of your business and your movement growing. Okay. With that said, all right, I think everybody understands that. I think the biggest thing I would tell you all is just understanding that we have to be so careful when we are putting out content that we're actually truly putting out content that is shareable to other people. It is all about the shares, nothing else. The likes, the comments, the watch time. I mean, that is important, but there's nothing more important than the shares, not even the saves. It is the shares. Because when you start to get the shares, that's when you're actually making the flywheel work. Okay. The shares is telling the platforms that what this person has is so good that other people want others to hear about it. So just think about the things that you can have a lot of things that are valuable stuff, but is it truly shareable? And that is will it create conversation, right? And that's what you're looking for. So I did a post, and it was just myself and one of my team members. We were just here sitting in these chairs in this podcast room. And all we did was a post. It took us about 1 minute to do. It was a minute post where he just said, Greg, see if you can name the top 5 professions that are suffering from burnout. That's it. He found it through a site, some site on Google. I can't even remember the site off the top of my head. And in 60 seconds, I just named them. And I got I definitely got PT, OT right. I got pharmacy. I got, physicians. I got, what was the other one? I can't remember. Mental health, counselors. And, and then there was, one of, nurses. Sorry. So those are the five. But basically, that post went crazy. It went crazy. And the craziest part about it is I think now at the time of this recording, I think we've probably just surpassed 3,000 shares. So it just keeps on going more and more and more. You guys, the amount of people that have seen my stuff in the last 7 days is nearly equivalent to what I paid probably $30,000 last year in advertising to get that amount of eyeballs in front of people. And advertising is like, people know it's an ad, right? And so I say that because that is the key. Are you making something that creates conversation and is shareable? It doesn't have to be you saying how much you know. It just needs to be something that somebody's like, yeah, I want my colleagues to know this. I want my parent group to know this. I want my CrossFit friends to know this. I want my High Rocks friends to know this as well, right? Is it creating is it meeting the shareability equation? That's really it, right? And it means it's got to identify with people. It's got to create conversation, maybe even some conflict, but it doesn't stop. And I'll tell you something, it is the most, like, I've had such a beautiful weekend because I know that my stuff is working and I know that all of my marketing is just popping off. So you don't feel like you have to be in front of anybody. It's so cool. And it's not hard to do. It's just making sure that when you're doing the content, you're not doing it to show how smart you are. You're doing it with the share in mind. Okay, that's number one. I think number two is this. I am focusing so much more on the hook than the actual content. So and this is something that my brother, told me. Mr. Beast, who's probably one of the biggest YouTube sensations out there, his videos, this kid has like what does he even have? I don't know. All I know is like hundreds of millions of followers and subscribers on YouTube. You know what he does? He spends all of his time figuring out what his hook's going to be. And then after that, he creates the video. Whereas I think for many of us, we create the content and then we decide what the hook is going to be after that. We do the hook last. I'm doing the hook first. And based on that, that is making my content explode. So hook over everything else. Don't even create the video until you start with the hook first. So I'm actually beating myself over a piece of content, which has done amazing. It's still done good, done better than 95% of my content prior. But my brother and I was like, I messed up that hook. He's like, yeah, you messed up that hook. So the hook over everything else. So shareable stuff, the hook over everything else. And I think the other thing that I've learned this week is you have to understand reactance. So the video that did the best for me was an interview type style challenge video. But the other videos that have done extremely well are green screen videos. So what I started doing was like, oh my God, I love green screen videos. These are great to do. But you can't have everything the same. It's got to be different. So just understanding reactance. Reactance is if somebody sees you in the same seat or the same position or the same environment or same background, their brain automatically says, oh, I've already seen this before. I've already heard it. I can go on. So just switch it up. That's it, Now, you're like, but I don't have the time for all this stuff. Listen, as long as you understand the strategy behind it, okay, now let's talk about the last thing I'm going to say to you guys, and that's using Claude or using AI or ChatGPT. I am not using it to do all of my content. I'm just using it to help me with creating not the framework. I need to know the framework, but I can give it my framework and then say, okay, don't make me run out of ideas. Using this framework, can you give me ideas of things that I can do? And what I am doing is I am linking my Instagram account to my AI platform that I use, whether it's Claude or ChatGPT. For this one, I'm using Claude. And I'm basically running Instagram through it every 48 hours and saying, okay, I want you to look at the stats of what my Instagrams videos are doing, and then guide me, understanding I don't want reactants. What would you do next based on not only the views, the shares, the likes, the saves, but the comments? And I'm using a tool called Windsor, WINDSOR.ai to do this. And I'm linking it with my Claude, and it's basically pulling all that information. And then it's giving me ideas of directions I can go. So I don't have to batch create a ton of stuff. I can batch create some stuff, but then I can kind of go off the things that are hot and kind of ride that wave. And so, oh my gosh, you guys, it's been phenomenal. And I've probably spent a total of an hour and a half last week on doing content that has gotten me over 100,000 eyeballs. What? So, anyways, I hope that helps. I hope that serves you guys. But that's really what I'm doing. And here, you know what? I'm going to tell you guys one other thing. The other thing that I'm doing is the things that, because not everything did great. The things that bomb is when I'm getting people like, hey, DM me this or comment this. They're flagging it right away and they're throttling it down. So just be careful of always saying for people to comment that because it's like, oh, another sales thing. So just sometimes just have content for reach, and that's it. No call to action. The call to action could be follow me for more. The call to action could be, what do you think about this? But the call to action doesn't have to be, give me your information. Just make it for reach. And you know what I'm finding is that as people are coming to the page, then they're going and looking at all the other stuff, and it's getting them to now trust you. So anyways, I hope that helps you guys. I hope that serves you. Guys, listen, I've been doing this for a long time. There's never been a more opportune time than now to do content, especially for you all as beginners. It pays the best. It is the most leveraged skill that you can have. You don't need any money for it. So anyways, I hope that helps. Hope that serves. Love you guys. Till next time.